Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the brand new Extreme Z area that has recently come to Dbz Dokkan Battle Global as a part of the Reddit celebration, I guess, but as a part of the celebration just before the worldwide celebration. So this is the Goku and Friends are back Extreme Z area. And this Extreme Z area is featured or required to Extreme Z awaken the AGL free-to-play Tarbles and the INT free-to-play Gotenks. Now these two units can both be farmed from the Goku and Friends story event, and it follows the standard procedure of an Extreme Z area. You need to go to the left hand or the right hand path on each difficulty so that you can obviously farm the medals. So in terms of passive, not going to read through the whole thing here, but it's obviously been a pretty intense change. Tarbles is a orb changer, which is obviously great, but he's also a siblings bond category support. He also, of course, provides some additional buffs on his super attack to the rest of the rotation, whereas Gotenks is a unit that will do more damage depending on how many debuffs are currently present on the opposition. So both have got pretty nice EZAs. I think they've not been brought up to speed with the current meta, but they've been made far more usable, especially the INT Gotenks. He can help you out with a couple fusion options for SBR and ESBR. Now obviously you can get both these units from the Goku and Friends are back celebration, which is obviously based on the TV special of the same name that essentially focused on Tarbles, Vegeta's long lost brother. Now of course, if you take a look at the event, it's pretty stock standard. There are two stages. The first one will be for farming medals for Tarble, and the second one will be for farming medals for Gotenks. There are two characters that are required. You have to have Gotenks and you have to have Tarble in the team. Now you don't have to use the team I am using. I am using a completely free-to-play team to take on the event. You can use whichever kind of build you want. There are limited characters, so you cannot just use whichever unit you want, and I did display those limited characters at the beginning of the video, but you can find them under the stage information. There are some much better options under there, but they are summonable, so I have kind of refrained from utilizing them in my team. So I'm using a wholly free-to-play team, and it works out more than fine. Everything works out pretty well. There's not anything too major, I would say, in terms of our team building that requires too much adjustment. All I can suggest is that you do give hidden potential orbs to both Tarble and Gotenks. It is going to make your life a lot easier, and for the majority, most of these units can be farmed pretty effectively. So for me, I think it was a pretty relatively easy Extreme Z area. I think obviously the biggest issue you're going to have is the fact that they only give you a friend Tarble as a lead, which is only the siblings bond category, and a lot of the free to play options that you're going to want to utilize are under the youth category or under the hybrid Saiyans category. Some of them will fall under siblings bond as a default, but generally speaking that was probably the hardest of all of these situations to manage. That being said, there really wasn't that much of an issue. I completed all of this in pretty standard time, and yeah, it really wasn't that much of a bad grind. As I always suggest, I suggest that you do one character at a time. So start the first stage and finish Dokkan Awakening or Extreme Z Awakening Tarble, and then move on to the second stage and focus on Extreme Z Awakening the Gotenks. You can do them one by one, but it's, or alternating, it's up to you. But ideally, I suggest that as the number one way to do it. It just helps you out because they gain more stats as they go along, and those can help you out just giving you more health. Just a reminder, guys, that the first difficulty, if you go to the left-hand sided path, that is bronze medals, and if you go to the right-hand sided path, that is silver medals. And of course, if on the second difficulty, if you go to the left hand sided path, it is gold, and if you go to the right hand sided path on the second difficulty, it is going to be a rainbow. So that is the suggestions that I can give you Generally speaking, yeah, it all follows the stock standard procedure that has been set by previous Extreme Z areas. So you shouldn't be that surprised overall. I don't think, yeah, there's too much to be surprised about. There are some missions mainly for just attempting each stage 7 times, but it's nothing that is relatively difficult. I've now skipped ahead, obviously, to when I have Dokkan awaken both characters or Extreme Z awaken both characters to level 130, and I will now be taking on the second stage. As I mentioned earlier, it's best to awaken them as far as you can. It will just help out your later attempts, make them go faster, give you a bit more health. It's all relatively helpful at the end of the day. Remember that there is also a chance of a question mark. That question mark can appear on any stage, and you're going to want to pick up that question mark because it will be bonus medals. Also as well, please remember to alternate between the sides you collect medals from. You're going to want to alternate between the left hand and right handed side so that you can pick up the medals as you go along. If you obviously go to the left hand side and you pick up a question mark, that obviously features right hand sided medals. Remember to keep a mental note of that. That's why generally I like to alternate between the sides. By alternating between the sides, what I actually do is I actually give myself the ability to proactively react to getting the bonus question mark. So if you just do all 3 left-handed sides in the beginning and you consistently farm bronze or gold medals, then all that's going to happen is you pick up a question mark, and if it is bronze or gold medals, you've wasted your time. So that's why I always suggest to alternate as best as possible. It's probably going to save you some inefficient runs later on in the future. So yeah, that is pretty much everything you need to know. For the most part, in terms of, the nitty gritty stuff, I think both of these units are pretty decent. I don't want to say they're fantastic, but I think they do serve a purpose. I think Gotenks will be helpful for the fusion SBR and things like that. I think Tarbles is an interesting unit. Being an orb changer kind of immediately gives them usability in a lot of punching bag or nuking events. So yeah, for the most part, honestly speaking, I think they're both fine. I wouldn't say they're the most spectacular units, but I wouldn't say that they're inherently bad. I think they have a purpose, and I think that's enough really for free-to-play EZAs, at least for me. I don't know, I think they're both just really helpful. So yeah, in terms of anything else, I would say if there is any other notable things, just remember that they require a certain amount of medals. So in terms of their EZA, they're going to require 15 bronze, 40 silver, 30 gold, and 30 rainbow, which amounts to 3 runs on each side on both difficulties. So 6 attempts at stage 1, 6 attempts at stage 2. And yeah, generally speaking, you shouldn't really have the biggest issue, I guess, overall. But yeah, you make sure you alternate, so you're basically doing 3 on each side, depending on if you get a question mark or not. Maybe you'll get unlucky when you get a question mark. Generally speaking, it's generally relatively common. Most players should get at least 1 during their run, and yeah. But otherwise, no, there shouldn't be really any too many major issues. Remember, you can stun and seal Gotenks and Tarble in stage 1 and 2, so that does give you some additional control mechanics. As you can see here, we have managed to stun them, so generally speaking, it's a pretty easy time. But yeah, that really is it. Obviously guys, just remember that you do need these units, or you need Tarble at least, for the Prime Battle Vegeta EZA. So if you are looking at EZAing your Prime Battle Vegeta, remember that you do need to pick up Tarble. It's going to help you out a lot. So yeah, pretty stock standard stuff. But that is pretty much going to be it from me. Remember to claim your missions, guys, as you do them and as you complete them. And yeah, just remember that if you are going to Extreme Z Awaken both units, that their SA will increase. And so what you're going to want to do is make sure that you farm a second copy of them, and get them to SA5, so that you can at least get them to 15 SA without having to break the bank and use any Kais, which is always a plus. But yeah, that is pretty much it for me. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care, stay safe, and as always, bye.